Gundam.tk presents Providence Gundam. Hey again everybody, it's Robert1224, 2Rs, 2Bs, YouTube and Gundam.tk, and it's time to go back to the start of the last decade. Gundam Seed is getting HD remastered, and what better time to take a look at the big bad of the series, the Providence Gundam, here in non-grade 1/100th form. Scrolling past Rala Cruze's face, in 2004 this kit came out, and it sold and sells for 2,500 yen. From the Gundam Seed line, this is number 11 in the 1/100th non-grade line. It came out after the red frame, before the blue frame, and was pretty much the last in the series before the late edition of the gold frame. The box cover art is nice, but I think it's interesting and worth going back to comment on the fact that we've got all this information here thrown on the cover of the box, which most Gundam fans will notice you're hardly ever going to get a drawn picture of the pilot on the box itself. Maybe there's a little bit of a spoiler aspect to it. However, Seed was such a character-driven show that the fact you've got the pilot's name there and their image there, not to mention what you're going to get inside, that clearly Seed was sort of going in an interesting direction in terms of matching the characters with the mobile suits. Looking around the box, you're going to have a very simple front view of a painted Providence Gundam. You'll notice that it's pretty Gundam looking, very GPO2A-ish, in the fact that it looks like a good guy, but it's really a bad guy. Big weapons there, and the backpack, of course, is going to be its most noticeable feature, which we can see quite well with the rear view. All sorts of little weapons protruding there. Hopefully they work out in model form. Again, back to the character influence, you've got Rala Cruze, and you're going to get a large-size figure of him on the inside of the box, some information about him. Beside that, we're going to have some pictures from the actual anime, and one of the main reasons I wanted to buy this kit is simply from that frame itself. At the end of one of the very late episodes, when the Providence launches to take on the Freedom in the final climatic battle, that's reason enough for me to want to pick up this kit and have it on my shelf. Other side now, where you're going to get some information not on the pilot, but on the actual mobile suit itself. And Seed was very well known for its backpacks, for its mobile suits, and the Providence is no exception. It's got a big circle stuck on the back and a whole bunch of dragoons that are going to stick off both on the hips and on the backpack. Hopefully they're all going to look good when they're put on. In terms of weapons, you're going to have a not very large shield, but the shield can have the addition of an oversized beam saber there, which is going to come out and hopefully looks good. The head is one of the more unique features of the Providence, just because it's got a lot of black in there. Perhaps foreshadowing for anybody who didn't know that this was a bad guy, that it is. It's got a lot of yellow in there, which hopefully those vents and everything are reflected in the kit. And then you're going to have a beam rifle, just in case the dragoons weren't enough. Inside the box, you're going to get a colored A plate, some gray and red, gray, a figure, black plates, polycaps, gray, and the manual. From the A plate, I think that you can see that because this is an old 1/100th Seed kit, the pieces are pretty large, and that's especially apparent here with the beam saber. It is good to see that they do have a special custom clear part here. 4 colors, the yellow parts, you're going to get the chest vents, you're going to get the neck part, and it looks like the top of the head here, and the blue for the main chest and outer little trim, and I think those go on the back of the backpack. Rob Schneider would certainly have something to say about this B plate, because that is a huge backpack. I don't really know what else to say. You've got big funnels, a few little tips there, but otherwise it's just dominated by these 2 massive frisbees. C plate brings us the shield and a few other parts in light gray, and if you were hoping for anything special out of these funnels, I think you're going to be pretty disappointed, because they are just one piece, which sure makes them easy to put together, but certainly not up their master grade quality in terms of the complexity. More big parts here on the D plate, especially we're talking about the leg pieces, which are just massive and give no indication whatsoever that they're going to have much of an inner frame, which is to be expected. I don't know why, but you'd think that some head parts would go on the earlier plates instead of all the way here to the E plate, but it's good to see that with the head there's a lot of hollow parts there, which means that other colors are going to be put on there. You've got the front grille here, and then you've got parts for the legs and arms. This dark gray or sort of black for the F plate, very similar to the same, well it's actually the same as what you get on the A plate, but I'm glad to see that you're going to get all this piping actually done in black, so it should stand out up against the chest. Looks like it's got all sorts of lines there, so if you want to go take the time to line it old HGUC Zaku style, you're more than welcome. Waist parts, and I guess what you can make up of this so-called inner frame. Things wrap up with a tiny G plate. You're just going to have the parts for the waist and for the feet, and a few extra little trim parts that will hopefully add a little bit of color to those otherwise gray and monotonous looking funnels. With Seed all the rage at the turn of the century, this huge Rala Cruise might have been a sales point for some people, and if you want to go paint it, it's actually painted pretty well. But just to give you an idea, there it is compared to the foot, so you get an idea of just how large these figures are. We're not talking Warhammer here. Good little bits of detail around here, including on the coats and the mask and the hair, so if you're good at painting, you could do that and really add to the visual display. The 1/100th Providence Gundam sure kept it easy on the seals. You've only got 2 to apply here. No guesses where those go. To the manual, where I think they've got a great picture of the model, done with some CG, of course, and painted by a pro, but it looks fantastic. If you could paint it like that, why not? Down there, the same information we've seen all over the box. Open the manual, which is book style, not like a high grade with its little 4-page pamphlet, but here you're going to have some line art, all the weapons, head height for the Providence Gundam given as 18 meters, and Rala Cruise is 183 centimeters tall, if you cared. Here you're going to have the plates. It's 40 yen to replace all the missing parts. When you get to the manual, you can expect all sorts of these big blocky parts, as you've already seen from the plates. Putting everything together is very simple. It shows you where to apply the seals. After you do the chest, head, and the arms, you're going to get some color splash pages, and here in the art it looks really, really gray. Good pictures. You've got some pictures there of the back of the Gundam without its backpack on. More pictures from the anime, and pretty much things that we've seen from around the box. Also, how to paint the figure. To the rest, when you put together the legs and the backpack and put all the Dragoons on, not a lot of instructions needed in terms of the transformation because there is not one. The only thing left is the color guide, and this is always interesting to look at. It's a 90% white they're calling for, with 10% neutral gray and the tiniest bit of purple, which I didn't quite expect. Then you're going to have the main red, and then you can put on some blue and make that into gray, and there is how you actually paint the figure. So Warhammer fans, this is something you might enjoy. Though actually, that's probably way too big. That's going to wrap up my look at the unbox and details of the Providence Gundam. So far the parts, there's more color variation in there than I expected, and I look forward to seeing it all put together, but you'll notice that this is probably just going to stay on the sprue. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, Gundam.tk, please let me know what you think of Gundam Seed, the anime, the climax, and whether you like this mobile suit and the video itself. Always love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Lots more to come. Have you been following sumo lately? I mean, because you're gold.